Do you want to relax? Are you having trouble sleeping or focusing? CBD reduces anxiety, chronic pain, seizures, PTSD, depression. Try our CBD gummies or chocolates. You will be very satisfied. Visit cbdcollections.net. cbdcollections.net. cbdcollections.net.
Hi, folks. I'm Chris Daley with Jamaican Chat, and it's always a delight engaging in rich conversation with Jamaicans making a difference. And we again have a wonderful person to do that. He's Dr. Robert Robinson. He's an entrepreneur along with being a medical doctor. Listen to the man's philosophy. The pursuit of science in the absence of sound philosophy is an excuse in exercise and fertility. Serious man. He's a patent holder of Jamunogizer products in Jamaica, and his latest creation we're going to be hearing about is a special tonic. And to do the interview tonight is my partner in crime, Janice Maxwell. Janice, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. Dr. Robinson, we really appreciate you spending some time with us. So,
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about your Jamaican roots.
Okay, well, I'm Robert Robinson. I was born in Lionel Town Hospital, that's in Clarendon, and grew up in Clarendon until I left to go university. In that time, I went to St. Thomas More Prep School and Clarendon College, and then from there I went on to university and spent quite a bit of time there. My parents, my mother was a nurse. She eventually became the first matron of Mapen Hospital, and my father was trained at Jamaica Agricultural Society, was a farmer, but later on went into the bauxite industry for a while. Mm-hmm.
I see. So you got that medical thing from your mom's side, I'm assuming, right?
Well, that's an assumption, because I tell people all the while that up to fifth form, after completing O levels, I had no interest in getting into medicine. I used to love going on my father's farm, but my father was insistent that I should not do agriculture, and I was wasting my talent. And for a peaceful life, I decided to do medicine. So that's how I actually ended up in medicine. It was not my first choice at all.
Oh, okay. Well, if you, I don't know if you know who Jim Rogers is, but you heard about him. Well, you know what he says, that this coming decade, or the next upcoming decade, the future millionaires in the U.S. at least are going to be the farmers, because the average farmer, yes, that's what he said. And the reason why he says that is because the average farmer in the U.S. is 55 years old. And you need a new crop of farmers. And a lot of people aren't going into that field. And whether you like it or not, you need farmers, because we got to eat.
Well, that's true. I mean, I love farming, but farming doesn't love me very much, though.
Oh, you might want to consider it.
Well, I did the farming for a while now. After graduating from university, I actually started a farm. I had it for about 10 years, but farming is a really rough business, So, but then I got one.
Yeah, but we appreciate you becoming a doctor. So to become a medical doctor takes more than excelling at O and A levels. What gave you the motivation as a young person?
Well, as I got into medicine because more my father insisting that I should do medicine. I had the talent, and I had passed the requirements and so on. After starting medicine, I really enjoyed the preclinical years. A lot of science was involved. I'm a lover of science. After going to the hospital, internal medicine really appealed to me. So that gave me a driving force. It was very intellectual, and we would argue cases and so on. These were the kind of things that motivated me a whole lot. So, as I got into it, I got to love it. That, so it wasn't my first choice, as I said, but once I was in it, I really enjoyed it, and especially the mental challenges that were, we met with cases and so on.
Yeah, well, it's definitely for the creative and not the faint of heart. How did you nurture your curiosity as a youngster?
Well, I've always been a very religious person from high school days. I used to be involved in a lot of church activities and so on. I spent some time in Trinidad after graduating. I went to Trinidad for 2 years, and actually that's where I met my wife. Returned back to Jamaica, but when I came back, I was a bit overweight, or quite overweight. So I started to do my own thing using the medical recommendations, diet, everything. But after 6 months, that year, I said, no, this can't be the way forward. And this is when I got very interested now in research, because I said, okay, there must be some better way this thing can be done than these restrictions and programs that we are offering. Started to explore things, saw some natural people, alternative people doing things. And then I got serious into searching the Bible. I actually searched from Genesis to Revelation to see all what the Bible had to offer in terms of diet and health. And that's where everything kicked off in terms of, developing the product and developing diet and so on as such.
Oh, so I guess you're an avid reader of Leviticus chapter 11. You live by that.
Yeah, well, it's there, but actually my favorite practice is actually Exodus 16, which talks about the diet, and I wrote a book on that in 2005. The name of the diet is the Sabbatical Diet, and if you ever heard of it, that was the production I did, and I actually wrote again in 5 years later, 5 years update on the Sabbatical Diet. So that has been my contribution from a literary point of view.
Yeah, so Sabbatical Diet 2.0, and you also have a DVD about that, right?
Yes, I developed a DVD, How to Improve Diabetes, and I go in there to show how the fact that the pattern we're eating has a lot to do with the development of diabetes, and how if you can correct that pattern, you can improve the condition and reverse it.
Yeah, because I remember they had like a school event, and I was filming it in Jamaica, and they talked about the soursop leaf.
Yeah.
That's supposed to help with the diabetes. So that was pretty intriguing. And being diabetic, I do have diabetes. So I was very interested in all the cures that can come in to help me out anyway. When you are a bright, ambitious, you have options. What made you focus on the medical field?
Well, I got ill, as I told you, when I returned from Trinidad. I was overweight, and to double down on that, in 1999, I also became very ill. I had severe rheumatoid arthritis, and again, applying the medical treatment, the drugs, and so on. I mean, when in 2003, I was up to 16 medications a day. I said, no, this can't be the way it was designed to go. So again, I even doubled down on my research. And as I said, I went right through the scriptures trying to find that. And I found three fundamental things. And one I mentioned a while ago, the pattern of we eat, which I wrote a book on, the Sabbatical Diet. But I recognize the purity of food, which you mentioned in Leviticus there, and how we had messed up what we call the prebiotic preservative ratio. There's a prebiotic preservative ratio in food. And obviously we have thrown that out because we want to increase the shelf life of food. And I saw where that was affecting our immune system. And then water, which people sometimes think is simple, is probably one of the most complex compounds that is on Earth. It has over 1,000 particles in it. How we mess that up with some of the treatment we have been doing in terms of fluorination, chlorination, and how it has interfered with those minerals, which are critical for signaling the system as to how to treat free radicals and so on.
I see. Yeah. So you because of your, I remember when I started university, they would say you had the freshman 5 or freshman 10. So each year you put on freshman 10, freshman 20, and so that contributed to your being overweight.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, I mean, you in Trinidad, and Trinidad has a lot of curry and Indian foods, and I love Indian food. So I kind of got out of hand, and eat a lot of food there. Wasn't
Yeah.
exercising much, so it really got out of hand. So when I
Yeah.
reached home, I was probably about 60, 70 pounds more than when I left.
Oh,
So
right.
so it was quite a challenge
It's
there.
It's interesting you should mention that, because I heard somewhere, and you probably know. I guess the people who have the largest diabetes issues is the
Mhm.
Indian community.
Right, that's true. It's quite high
Yeah.
in India, right? A lot of diabetes has to do with how we treat breakfast. Okay, all right. There are two hormones in the morning that are critical, and interfering with your what we call it insulin receptors. Insulin receptors are the units on the cell that responds to insulin. Now, if you eat a heavy breakfast in the morning, a carbohydrate breakfast, you're going to release insulin, and insulin is going to protect those receptors. On the other hand, if you fast, I don't eat any food, and you take a very slim breakfast and so on, your cortisol, which is high in the morning, starting at 8 a.m., is going to destroy those receptors. And you need to keep a balance between the amount of receptors you have, this both destruction and retention of receptors. So the sabbatical diet, which is in Exodus 16, talks about eating a heavy breakfast 6 morning and fasting 1 morning per week. So you're keeping the balance intact.
Interesting. Well,
Mhm.
it was interesting that you were able to apply the Bible to your to 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 what you're doing, and then you seem to be a serial entrepreneur. You've written books, you have the DVD. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about the product to challenge diabetes.
Okay. Well, as I said, we started off with the diet first, and when I got sick in 1999, obviously the diet wasn't protecting me from that, and that moved me on now to the product because I realized that my immune system was off. But when rheumatoid arthritis, there's a problem what we call autoimmune disorder. So there was something wrong with the immune system, and that's when I realized that the high level of preservative in food was distorting the bacterial flora. That's the bacteria lives in your intestine. Now, the human
Mhm.
body is not one creature, it's really two creatures. It's really the human and the bacteria, and that is becoming very popular now worldwide. And you have to eat to protect both. And if your food has too much preservatives, it's going to mess up the immune system. And if you mess up the immune system, it's going to increase your risk of diabetes. And therefore, you need to regulate or balance it out. So the product has what we call prebiotics. We put prebiotics in it to counter the high level of preservatives in food that we are eating. So once we balance that out, the bacteria becomes healthy, and they are very important in the healing system. So they are helping you to reverse the conditions and so on. But as I say, we say in Jamaica, one hand can't clap. So you have to eat both for yourself and them. And if your food is in balance, then obviously we would not be protecting them.
Yeah. Well, since you're a serial entrepreneur, I'm sure a cookbook will be on the way. But today, yeah, like how when you open up a cookbook, they have the appetizer and they have breakfast and lunch and dinner. So that
Yes,
might
yeah.
that 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 would probably, I guess, the next time we have an interview with you, you will be
Okay.
telling us about your cookbook that will balance everything out. But
Okay.
today we're going to talk about Jamunogizer Energy,
Right.
the tonic that you created. So,
Okay.
what are the benefits?
Okay. The product started off in Jamaica as Immunogizer and has now expanded into the US, being distributed by Prosper Up as Jamunogizer. The Jamunogizer is what we call it
Mm-hmm.
in Jamaica. We call it Immunogizer stem cell. Now, as I said, there's a problem with food. When you go and purchase your food, you get enough food which are imbalanced, too much preservative because they want to maintain the shelf life. So we put these prebiotics to counter that. And once you counter it, the bacteria gets healthy, and obviously the bacteria starts healing. The other thing we put in it is also the minerals that are missing from natural water. So we put that in there. And that is very important to process your free radicals. We generate a certain amount of free radicals every day because we're using oxygen. Once you use oxygen, you must produce free radicals. At least 2% of your oxygen goes to free radicals. But just taking antioxidants is not enough to remove that amount of antioxidants that is produced per day. And those oxidants are now feeding back and preventing healing and so on. So it damages the pancreas some more. It damages the blood vessels, so you get the strokes, the heart attack, and so on. So you really need to accelerate the clearance of those oxidants. And that is where the water factors, they actually desmutation factors, the correct term, but they just call it mineral factors for now. And their job is to accelerate the movement of the free radicals into your fat. It's actually processing your fat, and from your fat is converted to what we call hydrogen peroxide, and it is dissipated through a number of organs, including like liver, kidney, intestine, and so on. So those minerals are critical for that process. So once a person is taking Immunogizer, the immune system is going to be upregulated. They are going to start clearing the oxidants and so on, and the whole healing system now becomes switched on. So the body is able to change parts, replace the parts. So we have seen healing in right across literally every condition. The ones I tend to concentrate a lot on is diabetes, obviously, because that's a major epidemic now, hypertension, and we get into also cancer therapy and so on.
So who is Jamunogizer Energy intended audience as a commercial? It seems to focus on the family. You know, when I see the commercial.
Okay, yes, we focus on, well, we want to prevent disease. Prevention is always better than cure. As I said, we are getting these diseases because we're not following some basic principles in how, you know, the food is structured and how what we have done with water. So it's really targeted at everybody. Once a person is taking it, and we have seen that because we've been using it here in Jamaica for over 20 years. Wow. People who go on the product and don't have these conditions 20 years later are doing quite well, and there's no sign of them progressing in that way. People who have the conditions who have gone on it will see reversal. Some have actually come off the medication over time and so on. So it's preventing as long as repairing.
I see. So basically, I remember when I was a kid, every morning, my aunt would have me take a certain tonic. I won't mention what it is because I want everyone to buy your tonic. But I think you know which tonic I'm talking about. We all lined up in the morning, and that was just part of the breakfast thing. You know, we'd take a teaspoon of that particular tonic. They would have a cornmeal or porridge, or you know how that goes. I'm saying. So the reason why I'm asking is that since it's a family tonic thing, is that how you should do it? The whole family take it in the morning for breakfast? Like take a teaspoon?
Yes, that's ideally. If the whole family is taking it, that should be the way. You take a teaspoon in the morning with the meals and a teaspoon in the evening, just 2 teaspoons a day. For children under 12, we recommend half teaspoon in the morning, half teaspoon in the evening, and that is going to supply you with those minerals that I spoke to you about, the critical minerals, and also sufficient prebiotic to counteract the preservatives in the food you consume at the time. Just a small amount of prebiotics you need, because preservatives are normally low, like 0.1% and so on. So you don't need a lot of it, but you really need preservatives that will prebiotics that will override the preservatives, so the bacteria can flourish.
I see. Okay, so when should we anticipate results? So if I'm taking the Jamunogizer in the morning and I'm diabetic, I'm just going to use me as an example.
Okay.
And I'm taking it in the morning. We'll take it twice a day. When should I anticipate results?
Yeah, the results depend a lot on the condition. As you mentioned, diabetes. I would expect within 3 to 4 weeks to start seeing improvement in your diabetes across the board. But some conditions, within the first day of taking it, people begin to start experiencing improvement. Everybody should be seeing improvement within 2 months. Which the menstrual problems usually takes about 2 cycles. So we do a lot in terms of fibroids and menorrhagia and pain with with periods and so on. So sometimes it takes 2 hormonal cycles for you to start seeing the changes. But there are other conditions like arthritic pains and so on. Within a day or two, people start experiencing a reduction in the pain, and so it all depends on the condition. But diabetes, I would look at 3 to 6 weeks for diabetes to start seeing.
I see. And the reason why I say that is because I think every 3 to 6, I think it's every 3 months when I see my doctor, I have to take a blood test to make sure to check my levels. So if I start taking it now, the next time I go to the doctor to take the blood test, there should be a change.
A reduction. Yes, you're doing a hemoglobin A1C. They normally do that once every 3 months. And you should see it within that 3 months a change, right?
So the next time you come on, I'll give you some positive results. You know? The next time we talk, you'll have your book. And your Jamunogizer work. Okay. So given that folks have other medication, how tested on this side of the effects?
Well, as I said, we have operates a clinic in Jamaica. It's called the Sabbatical Diet Wellness Clinic. We see patients with, we do practice conventional medicine there, where we give medications and so on. We probably have about 10,000 patients we have seen in the last 15, 18 years. We do the product doesn't interact with any negative with your drugs. I mean, what we are giving is natural products. These are products that you would have normally received if you're living in a natural environment, right? So what we're giving is what is in your food, just that you're not getting the right amount in a consistent way and so on. So we don't see any interaction or side effects from it and so on. And what it is doing is upregulating, as I said, the immune system, and also the removal of the free radical, which is what we call a desmutation system. So it's upregulating those two systems, and those systems are critical for you to heal and to do well and so on. And we prescribe drugs as normal. As your condition improve, then obviously we reduce the drugs. Like in a diabetic case, you would reduce the anti-diabetic medications and so on.
I see. Okay, so this podcast is literally played around the world. So is this product available outside of Jamaica?
Yes, it is available. It is available now in the US as Jamunogizer. We also have an outlet in Trinidad, and there's an outlet in Grenada also. It's available online from most other countries, so people do buy it. Even we have gotten orders even from Germany and other countries in Europe. We had an order from Australia. So people, sometimes tourists who come, they experience the product here and go back, and they use it.
You want to get a refill, yeah. Well, this is definitely a positive thing on so many levels. You definitely have a customer, and I'm definitely gonna try it. I need to change I need to stop being a diabetic. I was diabetic. I was the doctor determined I was a diabetic 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
So, yeah, and I'm not happy. So I'm trying to find ways, and Jamunogizer is going to be something I am going to look into, because I don't want to take all the drugs, take insulin and all that other stuff. Because no good can come from that.
Yes, I understand.
So go on.
Well, again, the diet is very important. We recommend the diet. We do have a book online, a free book online, which is the Sabbatical Diet Made Simple. That was written by my wife. So it's a simpler book for the average person. But if you are interested in science, then the book I've written, the Sabbatical Diet 5 years later, is on Amazon. That's available there, which is really, it has some heavy sciences. So like doctors or medical person inclined would be interested in that. So you see the biochemistry and so on that is involved there with eating.
You said that that book, the one that your wife did, is free online?
Yeah, it's free online. If you go to Sabbatical Diet, sabbaticaldiet.com. When you go online, it's on one of those pages. Don't ask me which one, I can't remember.
Okay,
But it's there,
and
and it's a PDF to download. Yeah.
okay, that's nice.
All
So,
right, great.
guys, we're going to support this Jamaican entrepreneur. And so, do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience?
Well, we do our best to bring something to you that can make a difference. I mean, health is quite expensive to maintain your health now, especially if you get sick. And it's not hard to stay healthy. It's not very difficult. It's not difficult as it's saying, but you have to have the right products. And once you're following the pattern of eating to make sure that the balancing the hormones in the morning, you're getting what is necessary in terms of the minerals and so on, then your body will do the rest. It's not as difficult as it is made out to be, but you just have to follow the right principles, and then you'll see the result in short order.
Yeah, well, knowledge is power. So
Yes,
by
that's right.
providing this knowledge with us to our audience, we are going to take the Jamunogizer Energy product. So to learn more about Jamaican Diaspora, visit JamaicanDiaspora.com. To learn about Chris Daley, visit digital2grow.com. And to learn about Jamunogizer Energy, visit JamunogizeRenergy.com. And did you have any other websites that you would like our audience to learn about you?
Well, you have the Jamunogizer.com, that's Immunogizer.com, and the Sabbaticaldiet.com.
Okay. Dr. Robinson, we really appreciate you spending some time with us. We'll
All right, thank you very
see
much.
you next time.
Yes.
Bye now.
Okay, thanks very much.